Hey, let's face it, you're exhausted, pouring 60 hours a week into a job that eats up your mornings and nights. You show up early, stay late, say yes when others duck out, and stick to the rules like they're carved in stone. You've sacrificed time with friends, your health, even a good night's sleep, all for the team, for that vague promise of someday. You take pride in doing things right, staying loyal, being honest, but then you see her. Let's call her Lena, sailing past you. She cuts corners, talks more than she works, knows the right people despite lacking your skills. And now she's climbing higher, faster, living the life you thought you'd earned. That stings, doesn't it? You're left staring at the wall, wondering what you did wrong. But hold on, maybe that's not the right question. What if the real kicker is, what lie have you been fed? Since you were a kid, the message was clear: work hard, and it'll pay off. Effort equals reward. You bought into it, grinding away, trusting the system would notice and repay you someday. But what if that deal's busted? What if it was never real to begin with? A thinker who loved shattering illusions once pointed out that this moral labor, sacrificing, obeying, staying humble, isn't some noble path. It's a trap, psychological leash meant to keep you in line, not lift you up. In a world where power calls the shots, morality often just controls those who don't have it. You were taught virtue is its own reward, that keeping your head down and being good would make life fair. But life isn't fair. It's a competition, a political game. The office hums around you, phones ringing, keyboards clacking, but it all fades as you watch Lena charm the boss again. You realize the system doesn't care about your virtue. It rewards value, the kind you control, not the kind you create. Think about it. A nurse pulling a 12-hour shift gets paid less than some TikToker peddling get-rich-quick schemes. A blue-collar worker breaks their back daily, retiring with next to nothing, while a market manipulator walks off with millions. It's not your fault you believe the myth. It was built for people like you, to keep you obedient, working quiet. You lean back in your chair, the creak a small protest, and start wondering who's cashing in on your loyalty, who profits from your burnout. The day drags on, and you can't unsee it. Construction workers up before dawn, their backs aching by nightfall, nurses skipping meals to save lives, delivery drivers weaving through traffic, janitors scrubbing floors in the dark. These folks keep cities alive, yet they live paycheck to paycheck, stressing over rent, unable to afford a sick day. Meanwhile, someone filming flashy tips from a rented Lamborghini out-earns that nurse in a day. You've felt it, seen it. This isn't some glitch. This is the system, plain and simple. Labor builds the world, but it doesn't run it. The big earners, CEOs, hedge fund managers, politicians, they're not sweating in the heat or grinding in the cold. They work in a different league, one of leverage, perception, control. They position themselves, influence others, own the game. You stay late, the office emptying out, lights dimming, and the weight of it hits. We've built a world where power, not effort, pays off, controlling capital, networks, narratives beats producing something real. It's by design, not a mistake. Physical labor can be replaced, automated, devalued, but control over resources, people, ideas, that scales. A nurse treats one patient at a time. An investor moves billions with a tap. The system loves that scale, and here's where it gets cruel. We're conditioned to think suffering is noble, endurance honorable. That quiet service is the moral backbone. Sure, it is, but doesn't pay the bills. Praise doesn't build wealth, and sacrifice doesn't guarantee influence. While the working class is told to stay grateful, the top dogs train in strategy, law, manipulation, learning to dominate, not serve. Night falls, and you head home, the city lights blurring past, settling in with the heater on. You think of those workers, that nurse Lena's rise, and the lie starts to crack. If hard work was the ticket, why do the hardest workers barely survive? The promise of someday feels like the tightest chain, keeping you hoping, striving, while the rewards slip elsewhere. You grab a notebook, jotting down questions. Who benefits from this? Who profits from your exhaustion? And feel a shift. Working harder might not be the answer. Maybe that belief in moral labor is your cage. And until you face that, you'll keep grinding while someone else rewrites the rules. Hey, let's keep going. The city's still buzzing outside as you settle in, the heater humming softly, that notebook with its fresh questions sitting open on your lap. The office lingers in your mind. Lena's latest when replaying like a taunt against the exhaustion you felt yesterday. You've poured yourself into this job, sacrificing weekends, skipping meals, believing it would build something solid. Yet that emptiness grows, a hollow spot where the reward should be. You start to see it might not be coming, and that truth digs in deeper. You think back to the nurse you crossed paths with, her hands trembling after a grueling shift, her pay a shadow of her effort. You recall those late nights, fixing someone else's mess, the pride that followed, only to watch Lena swoop in and claim the glory with a smile. The pattern's clear. Your work lays the groundwork, but others harvest the results. Lunch break pulls you to the break room, the notebook out, pen tracing those sacrifices, staying late, helping out, the joy that now feels like a weight dragging you down. The vending machine's hum fills the quiet, and you wonder if all that giving has locked you into a deeper rut. The afternoon crawls by, and you catch Lena leading another meeting, her confidence unshaken by the shortcuts you've spotted. The boss leans in, hooked on her every word, and that sting of praise that never turns to power hits harder. You think of your dad, his hands rough from years at the factory, his pride in pushing through overshadowed by a retirement of quiet struggle. He handed you that lesson, to endure, to sacrifice, and you took it, but the emptiness mirrors his, a legacy of effort that led nowhere. The rain taps the window again, a soft echo of the storm inside, and you feel the trap. Your goodness keeps you tethered while others break free. You linger after hours, the office emptying, lights fading to a gentle glow, and the notebook turns into a mirror, reflecting the cost. You jot down those hollow victories, the coworker's thanks, the boss's nod, the nurse's fatigue, each one a crumb that kept you going but never lifted you. The thinker who challenged these ideas hinted that suffering isn't some noble badge. It's a chain, and you feel that truth settling in. Lena's voice drifts from down the hall. Another deal sealed, and that contrast stirs a restless unease. You think of the delivery drivers, their backs bent under loads, their lives hanging by thin paychecks, and see your own grind reflected there. Home comes late, the city lights smudged by mist through the bus window, and you sink into your chair with the heater on, the notebook open. The cost of virtue hits you hard. Every yes, every boundary you let slide has worn you thin, leaving you empty while Lena thrives. You remember a teacher's praise, a parent's nod, those stories of honest toil leading to reward, but they crumble under the weight of what you've lived. The heater hums along, a quiet companion, and you sketch a plan to say no, to guard your energy, the first step to break this cycle. The night deepens, the city winding down, and you feel a flicker of resolve. The notebook a record of the emptiness you're ready to shed. The rain softens to a gentle patter, and you think of the nurse's story, her quiet strength eroded by endless shifts, your own exhaustion echoing hers. The lie, that sacrifice would be noticed, feels like a fading whisper, and you wonder if the system leans on your willingness to give. You lean back, the chair creaking, and let the silence settle. The days load, easing into a quiet determination. The notebook waits, its pages filling with questions. Why does helping cost so much? Why does pushing through leave you hollow? And you know the answers lie in challenging the rules you followed, a path toward reclaiming what your goodness has taken. The city lights blink through the window, the world moving on, and you feel that pull to act, to shift from giving everything to guarding your strength. You think of Lena's ease, the nurse's struggle, your dad's quiet end, and the pattern sharpens. Virtue leaves you empty, a trap dressed as honor. The heater clicks off, leaving a soft hum, and you write again, outlining boundaries, a refusal to give without return. The night stretches on, the mist thickening, and you sit with the notebook, the pen still, the weight of the day lifting into a steely resolve to break free from the cost of your own kindness. Hey, let's dig deeper. The mist still hanging around as you head out, the notebook with its boundaries and questions tucked close, a spark of defiance growing inside. The office hums with its usual chaos, but your eyes are sharper now, catching Lena's latest move, her laughter pulling the boss into another favor, her influence a thread you're starting to trace. You felt the cost of virtue, that emptiness it carved, and today a new question rises. What if power, not just effort, is the key to breaking loose? The spreadsheet sits on your screen, but it's a tool now, a way to watch the game playing out around you. You watch Lena work the room, her words spinning alliances, her timing perfect as she bends situations to her will. The boss nods, caught in her charm, and you see it's not her skill but her control that lifts her up. You think of the delivery drivers, their strength overlooked, while a market manipulator shifts millions with a single move, and the pattern locks into place. The system rewards what you command, not what you create. The coffee goes cold in your hand as you lean back, the chair creaking, letting that realization settle. The thinker who challenged these ideas hinted that power shapes outcomes, and you feel a pull to figure out this hidden game. Lunch break pulls you to the park, the notebook open on a bench, the city's hum fading into the background. You jot down Lena's moves, her connections, those strategic pauses, and line them up against your quiet grind. The nurse's story pops up again, her hands steadying patience while her influence stays small, and you spot the divide. Labor builds, but control takes the prize. You recall the factory worker, his back bent for years, outdone by someone who masters leverage, not sweat. The air hints at rain, and you feel the truth. Power outshines effort, a lesson the system buries under empty praise. The afternoon drags on, but you're dialed in, watching Lena's subtle nods, the boss's leans, the way influence shifts hands. You think of your dad, his endurance a lesson in what not to repeat, his quiet struggle a warning of effort ignored. The thinker's words linger. That morality serves the powerful, and you see it play out, your goodness keeping you quiet while others grab the spotlight. You stay late, the office emptying, lights dimming to a soft glow, and you map the game. Alliance's perception control, notes piling up in the notebook as a plan to build your own leverage takes shape. Home comes late, the city lights smudged by mist through the bus window, and you settle in with the heater on, the notebook open. You think of Lena's rise, the nurse's fatigue, your dad's end, and the pattern clicks. Power, not virtue, drives the win. The lie, that effort would be noticed, fades more, and you wonder who's profiting from the setup. The thinker's challenge grows, grab power to break free, and you sketch a network, a voice, a step beyond the trap. The heater clicks off, leaving silence, and you lean back, the pen still, the day's weight lifting into a steely resolve to claim what's yours. The night deepens, the city quieting down, and you think of the nurse's quiet grit, the driver's unseen effort, Lena's smooth moves, and the game sharpens. You jot down a meeting with the nurse, a chance to build a coalition, and feel that switch from passive work to smart strategy. The mist thickens outside, mirroring the clarity inside, and you know this is the start, learning to navigate power, not just endure it. The notebook turns into a map, each page a move toward control, and you sit with it, the silence a friend, the day's load easing into a determination to rewrite your spot in this world. Let's keep this momentum going. The afternoon sun's dipping low as you step out, the notebook alive with last night's plan to build a network, a quiet fire driving you forward. The office feels like a chessboard now. Each step past Lena's desk, a nod to the power you're starting to claim with your coalition. You've seen how control beats effort, how it shapes the game, and today's about rewriting your own rules. The spreadsheet hums on your screen, but it's just a tool now, a stepping stone to fuel what you're really building. You kick things off with a quick call during a break, the nurse's voice steady as she agrees to meet, her story a key piece for the event you're planning. The notebook fills with names, drivers, workers, voices left in the shadows, and you feel the first strands of a web, a solid pushback against Lena's charm. The boss calls a meeting, and you tune in, tracking how influence flows, how alliances tip the scales. You step up, not just with facts, but with a quiet strength, tying your work to the company's heartbeat. Lena's smirk slips, the room adjusts, and you sense a crack in the old way, a move toward owning your place. Lunch pulls you to the park, the notebook open on a bench, the city's noise fading out. You sketch strategies, timing, alliances, a voice that demands to be heard. You think of your dad, his endurance a lesson in what to avoid, and the nurse's toughness a guide to what could be. The air carries a warm breeze, and you feel the power in this shift, how control can grow from little steps. The afternoon drags, but you're on it, linking up with a driver who nods at your idea, his know-how adding real heft. The thinker's nudge, that breaking free means rewriting rules, pushes you, and you stay late, the office quieting as you map the event, the notebook turning into a rebel's blueprint. Home comes after dark, the city lights a blur through the bus window, and you settle in with the heater on, the notebook open. You think of Lena's fade, the nurse's buy-in, your dad's quiet fight, and the chains start to loosen. The old lie, that virtue alone would lift you, slips away, swapped for a drive to carve your own path. The thinker's challenge lingers, create your terms, and you polish the plan, setting dates, roles, a network that stands on its own. The heater clicks off, leaving silence, and you lean back, the pen down, the day's weight lifting into a growing strength. The night deepens, the city winding down, and you think of the nurse's resilience, the driver's unseen grind, Lena's smooth play, and the resolve hardens. You jot a timeline, a small event to launch the network, and feel that switch from just working to creating something real. The thinker's words echo. That power is yours to take, and you see it in the coalition forming, a step beyond the trap. The notebook becomes a manifesto, each page a move towards sovereignty, and you sit with it, the silence a buddy, the day's load easing into a quiet determination to shape your future. The city lights peek through the window, the world keeping its pace, and you think of those kids in the park, their laughter echoing your old hopes. You want them to grab power, not wait for a nod, and that drive grows. You tweak the event plan, assigning roles, setting timelines, making sure it mirrors what you stand for. The quiet wraps around you, a friend in this moment, and you know this is just the start, building a life beyond the snare of good intentions, one solid step at a time. Let's dive into where you're at. It's just past noon as you grab your bag, the notebook buzzing with last night's event timeline, a quiet thrill pushing you out the door. The office feels like a faint echo now. Passing Lena's desk, a reminder of the power you're claiming through your network. You've rewritten some rules, felt that shift from just being good to playing smart. And today's about crafting a life that breaks free from that old trap of blind goodness. The spreadsheet's still there when you sit, but it's just a sidekick helping fuel what you're really building. You meet the nurse at a cozy cafe around 1 p.m., the smell of fresh bread wrapping around you as she pulls out fabric samples, her hands moving with purpose. You spread the notebook open, plans for the event, the goods to sell, the voices you're rallying. And she gives a tired but warm nod, her eyes sparking as you hammer out details together. It's like watching the coalition grow right there, a solid counter to Lena's charm, and you feel that switch from giving it all to creating something your own. The afternoon drags, but you're locked in, catching up with the driver later, his agreement adding real weight to the plan. The thinker's nudge, that freedom comes from owning your path, keeps you going, and you stay late, the office quieting as you map logistics, the notebook turning into a roadmap. Home comes after 7 p.m. The city lights a smear through the bus window, and you settle in with the heater on, the notebook open on your lap. You think about how Lena's smirk slipped yesterday, the nurse stepping up with her grit, and your dad's quiet fight that showed you what to avoid. The old lie, that just working hard would get you somewhere, feels like it's crumbling more, and you see how the system leans on keeping you quiet. The thinker's push to claim your power sticks with you, and you jot down a launch date, picturing a small market stall to kick things off, a real move from feeling stuck to taking charge. The night gets deeper, the city winding down outside, and you let your mind wander to the nurse's story, the driver's toughness, even Lena's smooth moves. It all hardens your resolve. You start reaching out, workers, a couple of friends, building this coalition that stands on its own, each call feeling like a brick in a wall you're raising. The heater clicks off, leaving a soft quiet, and you lean back, setting the pen down, the day's weight lifting into a steady strength. The notebook's turning into a guide now. Every page a move toward owning your life, and you can feel that freedom taking shape. Those city lights peek through the window, a reminder the world keeps turning, and you think about those kids you saw in the park, their laughter echoing your old hopes. You want them to see this, grabbing power instead of waiting for a pat on the back, and that drive grows. You polish the event plan, assigning roles, setting timelines, making sure it mirrors what you stand for. The quiet wraps around you, a friend in this moment, and you know you're just getting started, crafting a life beyond that old trap of good intentions, one solid step at a time. It's just past 3 p.m. as you sling your bag over your shoulder, the notebook alive with the event plan you've been shaping, a quiet excitement pushing you out the door. The office feels like a distant memory now. Passing Lena's desk, a faint echo of the power you're claiming with your coalition. You've rewritten rules, built a network, and today's about stepping into a new way of being, leaving that old trap of blind goodness behind. The spreadsheet's still there when you sit for a bit, but it's just a prop feeding the venture you're launching. You meet the nurse at a bustling market square around 4 p.m., the air thick with chatter and the scent of street food, her hands steady as she sets out the first goods, fabric pieces she's crafted. You unfold the notebook, laying out the event plan, the stall, the items, the voices, and she gives a tired but bright nod, her eyes alive as you fine-tune details together. The coalition hums around you, drivers and workers pitching in, a web of strength against Lena's charm, and you feel that leap from sacrifice to creation. The afternoon rolls on, and you're in the thick of it, guiding the setup, the driver's nod adding heft as the crowd starts to gather. The thinker's push, That freedom comes from your own terms, drives you, and you stay late, the market lights flickering as you oversee the launch, the notebook a living blueprint. Home comes after 8 p.m., the city lights a blur through the bus window, and you settle in with the heater on, the notebook open. You think of Lena's curious glance as she passed the stall, the nurse's resilience shining through, your dad's quiet fight that lit this path, and the old chains fall away. The lie, that effort alone would lift you, dissolves, and you see the system's game, thriving on your silence. The thinker's challenge lingers, embrace a new path, and you reflect on the day, the stall's modest profits, the voices raised, a step towards sovereignty. The night deepens, the city settling into a soft hum, and you let your mind drift to the nurse's story, the driver's grit, Lena's smooth play, and the resolve solidifies. You reach out to the network, rallying them for tomorrow, each call a brick in a wall you're building. The heater clicks off, leaving silence, and you lean back, the pen down, the day's weight lifting into a steady strength. The notebook turns into a testament, each page a move toward a life you shape, and you feel the freedom in this shift. Those city lights wink through the window, the world keeping its rhythm, and you think of the kids in the park, their laughter an echo of your old faith. You want them to see this, claiming power, not begging for approval, and that drive grows strong. You tweak the plan, solidifying roles, timelines, ensuring it reflects your core. The quiet wraps around you, a friend in this moment, and you know you've stepped onto an unseen path, one forged by your hands, ready to grow. So, here's what we've uncovered. The hard truth is that good intentions often backfire when they tie you to a system that prizes power over virtue. You've seen how sacrifice left you hollow, how control outpaces effort, and how crafting your own rules can set you free. This isn't about ditching goodness. It's about owning it, blending it with strategy to build a life on your terms. Look inward, stop buying into the comfort of that old lie, and face the reality of your own strength. The market stalls launch, the network's voice, the shift from waiting to creating. That's your power taking hold. As you sit here, the city hums outside, a reminder that freedom won't be handed to you. It's yours to claim. The final thought lands like a hammer. Your life is yours to author,